Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Made in Europe, an IPC podcast produced by Scoop Communications. I'm delighted to have two guests on the first episode, Bo Lybaek from GPV and Markus Aschenbrenner from Zollner, two gentlemen that I've spoken to on numerous occasions individually, but I think this is the first time I've had the both of you on a panel. So I'm feeling quite pleased with myself about that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The elephant in the room is tariffs. President Trump has announced sweeping tariffs. They've got everybody running around like headless chickens. I think we're in an environment where we really don't know what's going to happen next. We really don't know what's going to stick. How are you and your customers responding to this rapidly evolving story? Bo, maybe we can start with you and give me a kind of, are people picking up the phone and saying, hey, Bo, we need to move manufacturing here, we need to do this? Or are they just saying, what do we do next?
I think it's maybe still early days, and I think this is still moving around. So we have just had a call with our guys this morning, early morning, and we said the most important thing that is to stay calm. It is to follow what is happening and then be agile when it is needed. Personally, I think it could just as well be that there will be a period of you could say no decisions because everyone will be waiting to see what is the actual outcome, what can we count on. In business, you like to have stability, you like to know which playing field you're playing at, and you would also like to know that it's going to last for more than a month.
Yeah. And Markus, it feels like it might not even last 2 or 3 days at the moment. We've seen so many changes with the tariffs on Mexico and Canada over the last month, and these current tariffs seem to be very related to trade imbalances. So it's hard to see what the end game is. Is it the lack of certainty, the lack of visibility that is the biggest challenge?
I just can agree what Bo said. As a company, you need stability and something that you can plan on, and that's definitely not the right times right now for exactly that stability. So, and that's I think what is happening right now with all the announcement of the tariffs. Everybody's looking, what the negotiations between the countries or the regions will look like in order to see what is then the outcome finally. And I'm, as I said just a few minutes ago, we have to look until the dust settles after those announcements, what will be then a kind of reliable outcome, because I'm pretty sure that this situation of instability will continue over the next period of time, because that's at least that's my observation. It's a kind of strategy which the US government is doing right now to keep that uncertainty going on in order to be in a good position for negotiations. That's at least it looks like. But what that means is that decisions won't be made. There's a lot of investigations going on. What does that tariffs mean in terms of my product, in terms of my market, in terms where do I need to place manufacturing in order to have a good for different markets, for different regions? I think those discussions are going on, and there's questions asked also from our customers to us right now. But nobody will take a decision until that dust is cooling and that there's a kind of certainty that you can really base on or have a basis for those decisions. And that's the status right now.
Yeah.
What we at the company is really to look into the more details. So what kind of data do we need to have in order to answer the customer's questions as proper as we can? Because it's not just to have the country of origin of the components available. You need to have the smelts available and all that kind of stuff that you can really advise or give more clarity for customers in terms of what do those tariffs exactly need for your product, and what might be the best supply chain solution for this product for that market.
Yeah,
and this is where we are preparing ourselves for.
Yeah, and when you think about that, Markus, is it a question of having kind of the right supply chain modeling, the right kind of data available? Can you look at a bill of materials and say, based on this set of tariffs, this is going to be the outcome, or is there a lot of complex calculations that could change in 24 hours?
It's all about data, first of all, having those data available, not just for the first step of the supply chain, but throughout the supply chain, if possible. And the second thing is that, these have been the announcement they made. I'm pretty sure that their own customs departments don't know exactly how they evaluate exactly the parts coming into the US right now. So what I'm expecting, at least, that we will have a huge delay in customs in the Americas for the next period of time, because the customs offices, they just don't know what the announcements that Trump made or the administration made does really concrete mean for the customs clearance department. So I think we will have a hiccup there, first of all.
Yeah, but when you look at it and you compare it with the disruptions of COVID, where and post-COVID, where the supply chain guys were the superheroes of our business, and they were rushing around doing complex things. Did they build up muscle that makes them more prepared for this, or is it just such a complex disruption? It's hard to manage.
I think it's hard to manage because, and I think our people think it's hard to manage because what is it actually that we are dealing with? Of course, at the beginning, if you were making the comparison with the pandemic, at that point in time, we also did not know that. But there's still so many not answered questions. And you, Markus, you pointed out one, that is, how is the custom clearance in the US going to take place? But there's a number of other missing answers, I think. So how is it exactly going to be applied to which kind of custom codes, etc., etc. So we can only say we follow it very closely. We try to be very close to our customers and try to support them. We have also started to get a number of answers, but I think also the underlying is that decisions are not made right today. And I unfortunately think that there could be a decision vacuum because we'll have to wait a certain period of time until there's more clarity. But that said, I think it is actually also important that we, at least that's my take, right now this is something between the US and the rest of the business is actually continuing as is. So I think that's also important to remember. Of course, I fully understand that if things are starting to go down, then we'll feel that around the globe. But right now, things within the EU, between EU and Asia, is going on as yesterday.
As it was before, No, it's absolutely. I mean, that's fascinating. And one of the things I wanted to ask was, last time we spoke was November at Elektronik. Since then, we obviously had the results of the election, so we had some predictability there. Then there was a knowledge that, or a kind of an understanding that we were going to see tariffs, and there were some people looking to buy forward to enable them to get ahead of that. Did you see a big disruption in the order book in Q1 as a result of people trying to pull business forward, or was it pretty much as you were expecting in the lead up to these tariff announcements? Either of you can take that one first.
If you're asking me, I cannot see that we have seen that, except when I look at our Mexico facility, where you can say we have been in a roller coaster situation where it was going from in principle 25 to 0, or from 0 to 25 to 0, back to 0. So other than that, I cannot see that we've had any, and actually also not order intake in Mexico did not stop, but new business RFQs, there has been a pausing.
Yeah, and that's not surprising, is it? Yeah.
So we expect that to resume now, but
it feels like Mexico and Canada were perhaps the two winners out of the last set of announcements, but there's still, as Markus said, there's still a lot of dust in the air, and we have to wait for that to settle. One of the big factors,
and Philip, I think it's important to say that Mexico is only zero if you are able to adhere to the USMCA agreement.
Yeah, and I think everybody's got their agreement out and they're reading it again, and they're trying to work out what is impacted and not impacted by those regulations. Markus, from a Zollner point of view, you selected Costa Rica over Mexico. I didn't see Costa Rica on the list of tariffs. I guess they don't have a big trade imbalance there. Is that something that feels like it was a good decision right now, or is it too early to say on that as well?
First of all, coming to your question about the order book, I fully agree to what Bo said. So the rest of the world is running. So we're talking about a US issue. Of course, there will be an impact on the globe, on all the things going on right now, but we don't see it right now because that is due to the decisions not being made. And until that doesn't happen, there is no decisions on that, and there is not what we see on the order book right now. But so our order book is quite stable. It's a little bit increasing. Last year was like as planned, and we think that this year will be better than last year. So that's in a nutshell what we see there. What the impact of the tariffs is and the outcome is, that's what we have to wait for. And there might be an impact there. But to your question, Costa Rica has the 10% tariff that nearly every country in the world has right now, but nothing, no upmarks or something. In my opinion, Costa Rica is flying under the radar of the US right now because the imbalance is not there, or it's not that huge that it really appears. So in terms of the decision we made already in 2014, I think that was a good one because what we see is a lot of interest in our facility there right now. We are building a second building exactly right now, which will be finished by the end of the year in order that we can utilize it in 26 because we see business going there right now. Absolutely.
Yeah. And from a global point of view, Bo and Markus, I see you both continuing with those investment plans, continuing to build out that global footprint, which is, so fundamentally important to growing your business moving forward. You have to be in all those different regions, and you have to have a solid footprint there. And I want to come back to that later because I'm really interested in how you do build a global footprint and how you actually leverage that global footprint to support your customers in these times. But one of the things I wanted to touch on was the fact that these tariffs, and pretty much since President Trump walked into the White House, that there seems to be this increasing European-US tension and a kind of almost a renegotiating of the relationship between the two markets. Is that something that affects your business and affects your plans, or is that again something that is just creating a lot of noise that's perhaps slowing some decisions down? Bo, maybe you'd like to give your thoughts on that first of all.
Yeah, I think that it is obvious, or we can all see that there is a certain dynamics in the political dynamics between US and Europe, but I don't think that that will change our actually strong relationship to US customers. I don't see why. I just had the opportunity to be in the US last week. And they are just as unsecure or insecure as we are about what is happening. They also don't like this they also don't like to be driving business in an unstable environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think that we have all interest in still being close to our US customers and will continue to develop that base. I don't see why not.
Yeah. Markus, you feel the same way?
First of all, if I look at both customer base and our customer base, a lot of our customers are multinational operating companies. And they anyhow have needs to serve different markets. And what most of them are thinking right now, or at least that's in the discussion that we have with those customers, is that they're really thinking of having localized their supply chain in order to serve the market closer, faster, and be reactive on the local needs which are there. And this is the long-term strategy that we are following as Zollner, because we want to set up our production possibilities the way that we can serve the markets directly within the markets. That's what we are looking for, and I think Bo is heading GPB the same direction, because as a contract manufacturer or EMS partner, that's exactly what you need to establish. You need to be in a position that you can serve your customer locally with service level that you have anyhow in all the regions. I think this is what our customer base is looking for, and that long-term trend is supported, let's say like that, even if it's a bad situation, by what is Trump doing right now.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, isn't it? It feels like that pendulum swing away from globalization to a more regionalized model, and a more regionalized model of supply chain is something that suits companies with a global footprint. And as you say, having your footprint reconciled with the markets that your customers are in is an essential way of serving them. And when I look at what you've been doing recently, Bo, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, and I can only I have exactly the same opinion as what you have just been saying, Markus, that this region for region will just be move forward faster, I think. And if we are also looking at what has happened in many of our largest customers in the last years, they have also been decentralizing because they want also to be closer to customers. They want to be closer to customers in the different regions. So this is also supporting this region for region thinking. I don't like the background on which this is going to be accelerated, but I think it could be a very natural result of it.
Yeah, and it feels like that's a process that's been occurring for some time. Sorry, Markus, you were going to interject.
I agree with what Bo said.
Yeah. When I look at those footprints, and I think that of that global footprint, I think that's one thing. Being able to leverage that, and particularly being able to leverage that in a world where we are disrupted. And then I think, well, can we do that fast enough? Can we move stuff from one region to another quickly? Can we adjust capacity in different countries? And are there key elements like strategic supplier relationships with particular equipment vendors, or common equipment sets, or common softwares? Are there things that allow us to put, and you mentioned the word agility, Bo, are there things that allow us to put agility as a layer on top of that global footprint that really drive that additional value to the company? You're kind of smiling there as whether you,
because
whether you think it's a yes or a no.
I don't think it's as easy as a yes or a no.
It's not easy.
Because I think agility comes in many directions. So agility is also that you comprehend the situation. For instance, this about the tariffs and how they are evolving fast, so that you're able to support your customers with with good, consolidated, well thought through information and argues. Something else is when you're building a factory. At least I have a hard time to see that we are able to build factories for the month of May, and then we build somewhere else for the month of June.
Yeah,
we are not able to do that, and I think it will take some time until we're able to be that agile. But of course, the advantage in the EMS industry is that the equipment that we have is relatively easy to move around. We have a clear defined, and I'm sure that Zollner also have a clear defined key brand list of equipment. So it's known in all our sites. We can of course move equipment around. Competences you can also move around to a certain extent, even that is more difficult. Yeah. But I think that a lot of the vast majority of our products we cannot just move around without the consent of our customers. So they have to be involved in this.
Yeah, and it's that reapproval of lines, but I think you getting ahead of it and them getting ahead of it. The common equipment set, I think, is really valuable, and I've seen that in both of your businesses in multiple facilities. That when you have, particularly when you've done a greenfield site, you've been able to do that, and the software overlap, and I think all that creates agility. You spoke about talent, Markus. There's also a cultural thing, isn't there, where you have a common culture across the business, and everybody everywhere understands the way you do things, and the importance of being customer obsessed and delivering regardless of where you are in the world. That's an important part of building an agile EMS global footprint, no matter how many thousands of people you have.
Important topic, Phil, and I think we had that in one of our last discussions at Elektronik. To have first of all, you need to build a baseline, and what Bo described is absolutely a baseline, to have a common set of machine vendors that you use, processes which are alike, in order that you're able to move products around, with then having, of course, the approval of your customer. That's a baseline, but with a growing company and having the same spirit each and everywhere, the same culture each and everywhere, with doing acquisitions, and that we did acquisitions in the past in order to be faster in some certain markets in the US and Thailand. The selection of those acquisition targets is, for me, a very important topic, because what we try to do is, in order to have that the corporate identity and spirit also there, is that we acquired family-owned companies. We are also a family-owned company with the size, but we acquired family-owned company having the same fundamental spirit there, which makes it easier to integrate then into our big group. And of course, a lot of our doing is really also with the management circles we have, to have that spirit, that homegrown spirit that we have here in Zollner, also in all our subsidiaries around the globe, and that's an ongoing thing, which is important.
It's essential.
So agility in terms of speed, and also if you want to be agile, far away from corporate, there has to be decisions made locally. And having the same cultural setup, it's easier for those managers to make the right decisions.
And to have that earned autonomy, which I think is essential. Bo, when I look at your travel schedule, I think you're out there flying the GPV culture flag constantly, and you're out there disseminating this kind of ideal of how GPV looks, not just to the market, but how GPV behaves in every region, and how it behaves towards the customer.
Yeah, I can only say what Markus is saying. I think that is what you, Markus, and what Zollner has been doing so well over many years. And our mantra, that is this: results are created by people. And we strongly believe that the people in our business, they are actually the most important element. We can buy a machine, we can build a new house, we can say we want to do this and that with our customers, but it requires that we have people interested, people motivated, people diligently doing this with great proudness.
Yeah, that pride and that culture that I see in both of your businesses, I think is absolutely fundamental to your success. And it becomes even more important when things are disrupted and things are challenged. You need those people that really understand the culture and can make those decisions, as Markus said, locally. That earned autonomy within the business is hugely important. I'm conscious that we've only got a few minutes left, so I wanted to touch on the European market and what's happened recently. I think as a result of some of the relationship challenges, Europe's kind of really stepped up, decided to spend a bit more money on defense. The German government announced close to 1 trillion in expenditure, I think half on defense and half on infrastructure. Are those things that you feel are bolstering the local market in Europe? Do you feel better about your European business than you perhaps did in November when we met in Munich? Markus, what do you think? Do you feel better? You're smiling.
Yeah, because first of all, what I hope will be one of the outcomes of the political situation that we see right now is that Europe is getting closer together and building really a European Union. That would be a positive outcome for me, personal opinion of myself, out of the whole political thing, because I'm pretty sure if we want to really be seen as a partner on the same level for the US and also for China, there needs to be a strong European Union with a really a value for the others to negotiate with and to have a kind of same side. The second thing that you're mentioning is the money which is there right now in the European Union, which is spent in military and infrastructure. From a German perspective, it's very important to have those infrastructure investments to be done, because we are lagging behind in the meantime, and there definitely needs to be something to be done there. But it's not just making those investments. It's, for me, also very important, or even at the same level, is to bring bureaucracy down. Very important topic in Europe and in Germany. The last 5 years in the European Union, we went the direction of having everything controlled, reported to an extent which is really hindering business in the meantime. And this needs to be also focused on and brought back to a level which helps the European manufacturing industry or companies being really competitive on a global point of view. That's the most important topic, and certainly those investments done in infrastructure and military will help to boost the economy in Europe. There is no doubt about that. But there has also been some other political decisions being made. Otherwise, it's not enough, to grow out there. That's not all of it. There's really a portion which has to come along with that.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a short-term gain. Bo, I saw you nodding a lot there. I think you feel Markus's pain with respect to red tape and bureaucracy. It comes back to that word that we've mentioned several times, and that's agility. Europe as a body needs to move faster and be a little bit more agile in the way it does things. Anything you'd like to add there?
Maybe a comment. I really sincerely hope that, and I think I also start to sense a lot more optimism in Germany around this, what has happened around the new government. And I really hope that will mature even further, because for Europe, we need that. Germany is the biggest single market. Of course, the other big countries are also important in driving the way forward. And I think it's quite interesting to see how the UK have stepped into the scene on certain topics. So maybe all these challenges is also uniting us even further. I think I'm coming from a small country, Denmark. We certainly need, because we need the EU. We need open markets. We are a small open economy, but we cannot pave the road as the big countries can.
No, I think it's essential, and I think having a bit more European pride and having a Europe that is moving a bit faster is, we're all Europeans here, so we can say that. But I think having something that feels agile and feels very together is really what the whole European Union thing, way back to the 1970s was all about, and I think that's the essence of it. I just want to touch on one more. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and because you just triggered me by saying that we should maybe be proud of Europe, and I think that is actually a quite important thing. And being proud of Europe, that is not the same as everything is as it should be. But I think we have some fundamental good things, and we should use that as a leverage to take care of some of the things you mentioned, Markus, the bureaucracy, take care of the things which is not so good.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Europe has some beautifully diverse talent and wonderful cultures, and it's kind of what makes it the wonderful place that it is. But when it's all working together and moving in the same direction, there's a lot more value there, isn't there? There's absolutely a lot more value. Exciting times ahead. Let's see how that dust settles. Let's see what it all looks like next. But gentlemen, thank you so much for spending time with me this evening. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Phil, thank you very much.